Welcome to Conversations with Zaki Baruti, with your host, Zaki Baruti. Like always, encourage everyone to go and tell your family members that the Conversations with Zaki Baruti is on. Tonight, we're going to have another great show, but before we get into our show, I'd like to give a shout out to my biological family. What's going on to the Universal African Peoples Organization family, what's happening, as well as to the new Life Evangelistic Center led by Reverend Rice. Keep up the great work. On that note, in studio with me is a person that I'm sure most of you are familiar with. He works directly with Reverend Rice and part of the whole operation of New Life Evangelistic Center, and that's none other than Kymal Dockett.
How you doing?
Welcome, Kymal. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, doing great.
Well, you know, part of this evening, we're going to do a reflection of an activist in our community who's no longer with us in the physical being, but spiritually in his spirit operates through yourself, and I'm speaking none other than your father, Richard Dockett,
Yes, sir.
who for many years was one of our prominent activists here in the St. Louis area, as well as throughout the country. But before we talk about him, I want to, for all my shows, I always like to, for our audience to know who the guest, something about the guest, who the guest is. So can you share with us your background in terms of whatever you want to share and let people know about Kymal Dockett?
Yeah, basically, my father, Richard Dockett, was a great activist in the St. Louis area. So I grew up in a household that had a strong emphasis on being involved in the community, and also that my father was, very vocal on change. And when you saw injustices, that you get involved with those injustices and create a voice for yourself and for those that don't have a voice. For me, as far as me, I work here at New Life Evangelistic Center as one of the directors over the TV station. But I came here, homeless. I came to New Life Evangelistic Center actually homeless. I was going through some struggles throughout my 30s. And I actually came through the doors of New Life Evangelistic Center kind of seeking change and to get back on direction. And I joined the 2-year leadership program here at New Life. I actually lived down at New Life Evangelistic Center for nearly 2 years. And as a result of that, I eventually became the director of the TV station and was able to go on to work, with Reverend Larry Rice on a daily basis. So I understand the importance of, giving individuals opportunities, and if you give a person an opportunity, they can be able to change their life.
Man, you touched a point, because, the work of the New Life Evangelistic Center for so many years was to provide a shelter for homeless people, and it was a walk-in shelter.
Right.
Your experience as a homeless person, kind of share that a little bit. I mean, what was that like?
It wasn't good. I mean, especially if you grew up in a household where you had never been homeless. I had dealt with some substance abuse in my 30s, and I just really had got off track. I grew up in a household that was, really, it had a strong foundation in it. I grew up with a mom and a dad, and had siblings. But, like some people, like the Bible speaks of a prodigal, I had kind of strayed away from some of the things that I was taught as a child, as a young man. And homelessness is real here in the city of St. Louis, and it can be difficult once you become homeless to get back on track. So, I knew about Reverend Larry Rice, and I went down to the facility and was able to get involved. And I was just led to kind of, join the program and not try to do it on my own. And but it can be really difficult to be homeless, especially here in St. Louis, because there's not really a lot of opportunities to get back on your feet, and that's why so many people become homeless for so long, is there's not a lot of programs to get them, or to have that bridge to get them back on their feet.
Well, that's a blessing that, that you were able to change and, come from that negative to where you're at now. But you did touch a point, and that happens in so many families. Even though you may have a strong foundation, some of these substances, drugs, can, and it does impact our community so negatively all across the border. So again, I want to salute you for, changing your life and really being a positive asset. And I know your father is smiling. I knew your father personally, and I know he was a family man, but not only a family man, he was out in the community trying to do the best to uplift our people. So on that note, we're going to take a break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to look at your father, much of the work that he was doing, and then we're going to fast forward it to what is taking place with New Life Evangelistic Center and what you are doing also to make a difference. So stay tuned. On the flip side, we'll be right back.
You can help New Life Evangelistic Center break the cycle of homelessness by providing monies for MetroLink tickets. It's absolutely essential at this time. New Life Evangelistic Center is providing hundreds of MetroLink tickets every week to homeless people so they can get to their jobs, so they can get to their doctor appointments, so they can find a place to sleep at nights. Will you please share your much-needed tax-deductible gift with the New Life Evangelistic Center? Every $30 you provide enables New Life to get 10 of the MetroLink tickets. And you can send those gifts now to the New Life Evangelistic Center at P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166. These individuals are having to walk so far at this moment, and a MetroLink ticket means so very much. And not only does New Life Evangelistic Center desire to provide for the homeless throughout the greater St. Louis area, but also throughout the Springfield community. Your gifts are very much needed at this time. It's New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166. Thank you for praying, caring, and sharing at this moment.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
New Life Evangelistic Center is reaching out to so many people that don't have a home at this time, whether it's in the St. Louis area, the Springfield area with the day center that's there, or the teams of volunteers that are going out every day up and down the streets of the city of St. Louis, offering people direct help, emergency responses to the emergency needs they're in, also long-term solutions through the New Life Evangelistic Center training programs. Bus tickets are provided, other direct assistance is given, all because of those of you that are praying for the work of New Life Evangelistic Center and sharing your tax-deductible gifts now. It's P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166. Continue to pray for New Life Evangelistic Center as it works around the clock to be there when people are hurting in such a variety of ways through its work. Go to www.newlifeevangelisticcenter.org and see all the different ways that New Life Evangelistic Center is not only helping the hurting and homeless throughout Mid-America, but around the world. All because of those of you that are praying and sharing at this time. Again, it's New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166, or newlifeevangelisticcenter.org.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me is Kymal Dockett, who's the son of a prominent activist in the St. Louis area, and we just going to be reflecting a little bit on his life as a symbol that those of you who are listening, are to pick up the ball to help us make a difference in our communities? And on that note, we're speaking of Richard Dockett, this particular segment. Share with our audience some of the work that your father engaged in and how that impressed you as a young person.
Yeah, my father was a very strong and vocal individual that was very active in the community. He worked at General Motors for 35 years, where he was instrumental in workers' rights, union rights out at General Motors, and it was, he got up every day and went to work. Worked 8 to 10 hours every day. He came home, he provided for his family. And then in addition to that, he would go to other meetings, that was involved in University City, with the school board system, with the local council meetings. He was involved at the time I was growing up. He was involved with an organization that many people may know called OBS. He was also involved.
Which is the Organization for a Black Struggle.
Right.
Okay.
And then also MBUF. He was also involved with MBUF.
The National Black United Front. So
So he was very involved with her locally and also nationally. And then also each year we would get up doing the Dr. King. Dr. King, he was very involved with the Dr. King March, was the Grand Marshal for several years in a row. So, but my father was just really vocal. He was really active. And I can remember growing up as a kid in University City, where he would just bring kids together, bring people in the community together, and have play music, rent a DJ, barbecue for people. He would just help people. And I just saw this growing up. It's just this man that was just active, just very involved, and that made me the man that I am today. Just say, man, we have to be involved in our community.
So with that said, in terms of your father kind of community work, after doing the work to provide substance for the family, why is it very important for folks who do, say, a 9-to-5 job, or who are retired or what have you? Why is it, in your opinion, significant for folks to be involved to make a difference?
For me, because the mass majority of people are not active involved, and a lot of people don't have a voice. A lot of times when things happen, we don't get involved until something happens on our doorfront. And if the masses of people stayed involved, they stayed at these council meetings, they stayed at the voting polls, they stayed vocal on what's going on, a lot of times these injustices wouldn't even happen, because you have the 90% that's involved. Plus, we also want to think about the next generation of our youth that's coming up. And if you didn't have people like yourself, my father, that was paving the way for people like myself, then our voice wouldn't be as strong. And we had people that was before us, locally and national, people like Dr. King, that these people were vocal and active in these communities, and it paved the way for the next generation. So I think that it's generational that we stay involved, because there's a whole generation of young people that's coming up that we have to guide them in the right direction on how to do things.
A point is well taken, because, to make a difference, everybody's contribution can help. And if you cannot be on the front line, say, like your father, or say, as myself, who I've been on a lot of demonstrations with your father back in the past, then people ought to minimally financially support different organizations. Right. And also it should be, I guess you would agree, it should be a badge of honor that everybody should every year go and vote, as you had made mention about the political process, and should be a badge of honor that everybody should belong to an organization. If they're not active, at least providing financial support. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that a lot of times I understand that people work They have families and different things like that. And I guess sometimes it takes unique individuals to go above and beyond to do things in the community, you know, in addition to their family and whatever 9 to 5 or career that they have. But I think it's just necessary, especially as African Americans, as we've seen injustices that have happened in the United States and throughout the generations. You know, I just have a saying that I limit my conversation with people, especially African Americans, if they don't vote. You know, because it's too many things that can be solved through voting. And if a person tells me that they don't vote, when you look at the history of the suffrage of African Americans on how we press forward to vote and wanting to vote, and then nowadays you have people that are lazy and won't vote, or people that get on the bus and they get to the back of the bus. It's all right to sit up front now. It's all right to be in those lines to vote. So we ought to do it because many people died and were beaten and gave up their time so we can have those rights.
Absolutely. And with that said, now, fast forward into today, I know you're working to keep his memory alive. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about your father with some concrete community involvement. Right. Share with our audience one, I think you have an urban garden project going. Share with our audience that project.
Yeah, basically when my father passed away, it's been 4 years now. Just over 4 years, and we wanted, a lot of people was coming to me, especially in the University City area. It's like, what are you gonna do, you know, as his son, to keep his, you know, his dream alive or to keep his spirit alive? And one of the first things that I sat down with my wife and talked about was having a community day. Just having a community day where we give back, where it's free food. We invited local DJs and musicians, and we had guest speakers, and even Joe Adams, our representative, came out and gave us a plaque from the state reps. And we had different the local mayors and council people that came out. New Life Evangelistic Center came out and had like a little renewable energy fair and gave out literature and different things like that. So it was great. So we had the community days for the past 3 years, and last year we actually wanted to bring more tangibility to the organization. So we decided to get involved with urban gardening. And basically what we do is that we find areas where we can just grow fruits and vegetables and teach people how to grow their own fruits and vegetables. And we found that that was a way to, whether you're black and white, old or young, Asian or Hispanic, we all have to eat. And growing your own fruits and vegetables was a very tangible way to help people in the community.
So on that note, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with our guest, Kymal Dockett.
In front of the 1411 Locust Building, we have the statue of the homeless Jesus. Neighbors don't want the homeless around. They want to do everything they can to drive them out of downtown. And I saw this happen firsthand. I'm Larry Rice, director of the New Life Evangelistic Center, how the system can actually create chaos and then want to blame it on the work of God. We have all these homeless people that have come forth and testified the fact that the police actually encouraged them to go and sleep between the 14th and 15th block on Locust prior to the cease and desist order taking effect at the New Life Evangelistic Center. They let them sleep out there for weeks and even months. And then once that order was given, they went out there with the police sweep and chased them all off. Well, now there may not be homeless people around there, but they're sure hurting, and they're in many different locations. We believe that it's very important that we can get back into this 1411 Locust Building as soon as possible. And that's why we have all different types of repairs that are taking place. The problem is if the city keeps adding to their list because they're trying to perpetually keep us out, then we're going to have to go to court with this whole issue. That's why I'm asking for, number one, your prayers, and you continue financial support so we can make the repairs. And number three, a legal process that's so absolutely essential at this time that's far beyond the 1411 Locust Building. It relates to groups all over and churches all over that want to reach out in response to the scriptures and let the light and love of the homeless Jesus, who said that foxes have holes and birds have nests, but he, the Son of Man, had nowhere to lay his head, to live through them. We're striving to do that at New Life Evangelistic Center. Even though the 1411 Locust Building is presently closed, we're doing everything we can to help homeless people. Some we're taking to Winsville, Missouri, getting them into hotel rooms where they're finding jobs right away Others, we're getting a wide range of training programs. We're helping them with literally hundreds and hundreds of Metrolink bus tickets so they can get out and find jobs and all different types of emergency supplies. And all this is possible because of those of you that are praying, caring, and sharing with the New Life Evangelistic Center. So please send your gift now to P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri 63166.
Thanks to New Life Evangelistic Center, thousands of mothers with children around the world can stay together. They can pursue their educations, and they grow in grace and in the knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank you to all of our Club 24 members who make this miracle happen.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me is Kymal Dockett, and on the other side you were sharing with us about your urban gardening program. Why is urban gardening important?
Well, we feel that it's important in a number of ways. We feel that a lot of our youth, especially in the African American community, they're not getting the nutrition that they're needing. And a lot of times when you're growing up in single households, when you're growing up in households with just the mother that she's working, a lot of these kids are going home eating potato chips and cookies and different things like that. We feel that if a kid can learn how to grow their own tomato, blueberries, or grow their own onion, or whatever the case may be, we feel that it would motivate them to maybe have a more balanced nutritional diet than going home eating a potato chip. So that's one of the tangible ways we feel that it's important. Also, we believe that it just brings people together. It gets people out of the house, away from the TV, and into the community and active and visible. And that's one thing that I see as a man today versus a young man years ago, is that you don't see people outside or on their porch as you did years ago. And we feel that a lot of times if we can just get people outside, it helps to reduce crime, it helps people to know their neighbors, and we just felt that gardening was a way to do that.
Switching subjects, I know you've been working very close with New Life Evangelistic Center, and you know some I call them satanic forces, moved to close the homeless shelter. Can you share with our audience some updates as to where New Life Evangelistic Center is at right now? I mean, what's taking place right now in regards to reopening the center or what have you?
Yeah, as many people may know, as of April of 2017, the city of St. Louis had temporarily closed down New Life Evangelistic Center, stating that we needed to get some permits, do some upgrades. Currently, right now, we need $125,000 to put in a sprinkler system in New Life Evangelistic Center. And then we're also looking to do upgrades electrical-wise, plumbing-wise, and different things like that. So our ultimate goal is to reestablish a day shelter and then eventually reestablish the overnight shelter. So we just need people out there being vocal, being prayerful, calling City Hall, because there is a need for shelter in the city of St. Louis, and there's a greater need to have New Life Evangelistic Center open. And if people want more information about New Life, they can go to newlifeevangelistcenter.org, or they can call area code 314-421-3020. And then I also want to throw information about the Richard Dockett organization. You can call me direct at area code 314-285-8010, and that's the Richard Dockett Community Organization, and we're also online and on Facebook.
That's great. Now, New Life Evangelistic Center is having some type of social activity, I understand, around a major nature occurrence that's going to be taking place, and share with our audience that particular event.
Yeah. I guess it's been all over the news, all on social media, that in the state of Missouri, there's going to be an eclipse and St. Louis is going to go totally black, or at least parts of it is going to go totally black for several minutes. Now the whole process
during the daytime.
During the daytime.
Boy, everybody will be shocked if the people aren't on it. They'll be saying, "What's going on?"
Right. It's going to go black for about 3 to 4 minutes, but the whole process takes a couple of hours. So it's going to be a transition. Now, New Life thought it would be so profound to have what you call a stepping into the light eclipse party, where we're going to be downtown at Lucas Park. And if people don't know where Lucas Park is, that is across from the library off 14th Street, in between St. Charles and 14th Street, Locust Street. But you can get, call that number. Call the numbers and get in contact with us if you want more information, because we're looking for people to donate and come out that day.
We'll have to take a quick break and be right back.
August the 21st is a big date. They say 1 million people may be coming to Mid-America to see the great eclipse. So we want to do more than just see an eclipse. We want to see some major changes take place when it comes to compassion for our fellow human beings. And that's why I want to encourage you to join us at the great eclipse celebration. The great eclipse party is going to be taking place at Lucas Park. And it's at 14th and Locust on that day. Not only are we going to be distributing a lot of emergency items to hurting and homeless people, but there's going to be a coming together with people in the community, coming to know the homeless and praying. And let's believe God for revival. There's going to be churches involved, music involved, food, a lot of things are going to be taking place, but we want to involve you. So why don't you call 421-3020 and say, I want to volunteer at the Great Eclipse Homeless Event. If you can't come, will you share a very special gift right now to help defray the costs and send it to New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri at 63166. You can give online at newlifeevangelisticcenter.org.
Now is the time to pray. As you're praying, please remember New Life Evangelistic Center and its daily work among the hurting, the hungry, and the homeless. Remember the Bible, ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock, and it shall be opened to you.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti, and we only have a few minutes with Brother Kymal Dockett, and he was talking about a eclipse party that New Life Evangelistic Center will be holding on what date?
That'd be August the 21st. That's August the 21st, and we'll be out there all day. We're going to start set up at 7 a.m. in the morning, and we're going to be out there to 8 o'clock at night. So that'd be downtown. If you're familiar with Locust, 1411 Locust Street, the headquarters, we'd be down on 14th Street in between St. Charles and Locust Street, across the street from the library.
And the theme is stepping into the light. I like that. Stepping into the light.
Definitely.
And we need more people to step into the life in terms of the symbolism of the phase, because lightness will bring more involvement in our community. So make sure you have plans to be with New Life Evangelistic Center. Again, what date as we talk about stepping into the light?
That's going to be August the 21st, and we're going to be out at Lucas Park across the street from the library all day from 7 a.m. To 8 p.m. And then the total eclipse is going to be sometime around noon or so, so it's going to go totally dark for 4 minutes. And then also I wanted to throw in there, we have an upcoming event. The Richard Dockett organization has an upcoming event in October the 22nd. We're going to have our fall festival where we're going to be at 975 Pennsylvania out in University City. If you want more information about that, you can call area code 314-285-8010. If you want more information about New Life Evangelistic Center and the upcoming Eclipse Party, you can call area code 314-421-3020.
And last but not least, I just want to re-emphasize, you said something very important, because the work of New Life Evangelistic Center is really important. I mean, I salute the work around the homeless, people. To reopen the shelter, you have made mention you need some dollars.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So people, start writing out your check. And where do they send it in to?
Well, they can call New Life Evangelistic Center at area code 314-421-3020.
Slow down. 314 what?
421
421
30 3020. And so they can call, and we're always welcome. And then they can also go to the website, newlifeevangelisticcenter.org, and there's a donate tab for those that want to donate. And so just call that number and then go to the website if people want to donate, because we need a sprinkler system in order to reopen.
Now, in closing, your father is really proud of you. He's just smiling. He's smiling because you're doing what he has taught you to do. You're like the prodigal son. So I just want to salute you. Keep doing what you're doing. Yes, you have been listening to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. God bless each and every one of you. Get involved with an organization that wants to uplift people. God bless you.